I must admit that the Olivetti M20 is really growing on me. I like it. It's almost a loving relationship to a computer. And it's just because it's a tiny bit art, but it's also at the same time super beautiful. And it represents the area, the time. Back when this was developed, they started on developing this in 1979. It came out in 83, thereabouts. This one is not mine, but it's the third one that I'm actually looking into. And this one belongs to the Danish Museum of Computer History, located near Copenhagen here in Denmark. And the goal is for me to quickly inspect it, wash it, clean it, and ensure that it runs, so that I can bring it back to the museum so other people can actually see the computer running and playing games on it, or some of the applications, so for the exhibition over there. So it's going to be a fairly quick one compared to the hashtag OliTober last year, where I went through this one very thoroughly. And this is going to be quick, I hope. Maybe half an hour, 45 minutes maybe, I'm not sure. Let me start by just say that I just picked them up, and I have already cleaned the monitor. I have opened the monitor and I cleaned it, and the top casing I have also cleaned. That's it, because I just had to open it up and look into it to see whether or not there was something wrong with the computer, like corrosion and stuff. It seems that's fine. So let me take the camera closer and let's open it up, inspect it, and find our way to test it. First up is the L1 monitor, and it is clean. It's done. I haven't tested it, but I opened it up and cleaned it, so it's not that there wasn't any dirty stuff on it. It was fine. I just want to go through the monitor very briefly. First of all, it's the first one that I've seen with a red contrast knob up here. I have put deoxide in it, so this one should be okay. There are two screws in here. And further down, if I can do this, there are two screws there. I just briefly want to take off the back cover and show you the inside of the monitor. So let me briefly do that, unscrew the screws, and then let's look into it. You can't take the screws out, they stay inside the cabinet, so that's it. And when you lift it up, just be aware of the cable coming out here. Let me just do this, and obviously be careful. There we go. And let me just, you can't pull the cable through, but let me just put it down here. And let me give you an inside view of the monitor. There's nothing much to talk about in the monitor itself. It's very simple. The board's nothing special inside here. This is a black and white monitor, or green monitor. If you want to take off the cover over here, the only thing you need to do is unhook the cable in here, unscrew the screw down there, and then this cable can be taken off from the frame and put through the plastic cover. If you want, or when you want to take off the front plastic cover, there are two screws down there and two screws in the bottom here that you need to unscrew. And then you have access to clean the monitor. It's very simple. I have cleaned everything in here. There wasn't any dirt. There was nothing wrong with this one, it seems. I haven't turned it on, so hopefully it's working, but it's now clean. So let me just take this back, and maybe I should start by hooking it up before I put the cover on it. It goes down here, and then I shall put it back and put it to the side, and let's concentrate on the actual computer itself. That leaves us with the actual casing for the computer. In the back down here, all the way down here. Let me find it there. So down here there are 2 screws. Again, they don't fall out, so you just need to unscrew that. That is everything that holds the casing. So you can just lift it up from behind. If I did unscrew it, let me there we go. And then it's hooked in the front, so you lift it up this way and then pull it slowly this way. There we go. This is the casing. I have cleaned the casing, so it's not dirty anymore. It could use a retro brighting, but it's, again, this is a museum, so I'm not doing that. It's supposed to be very light gray, and it's a dark yellowish gray now. Which then gives us access to the actual computer. And there's a front cover for the 2 floppy disk drives. Again, this one I also have cleaned. It's supposed to be this gray color, but it's, again, yellowed. Not gonna do anything. The keyboard is very easy to lift up. You can just lift up. It's just placed down. It's not screwed in. But there is a cable for the keyboard connecting to the motherboard on this side. So when you take it off, you just need to, I've already unhook it from there, and then we have the keyboard, which I'll attend to, and taking off all the keys. Up here it is saying, I will say it's 85, so it's a later model. Then we have the 2 floppy disk drives, and they are also not screwed in. They are just hooked in, so you just take the drives and move them forward, and then you can lift them up. In the back, there's a cable for the 2 floppy disk drive that's connected directly to the motherboard, and there will be 2 power cords over here in the power supply, and you just unhook them, which then frees this item. So lifting it forward and then up, and then we have 2 floppy disk drives. I'll take this to the side, which then gives us access to the actual motherboard. Let me unhook the power supply. You cannot take out the power supply yet, even though it's just the same mechanism. It's not screwed in. It's just moving it this way, and then you can lift it up. But there's a lot of cable down here. The main cord comes in, goes in here, and then it redistributes to other parts of the power supply, and they're ground cables. We need to unhook, which I will unscrew the ground cable here, because as you may see, and bear in mind we are in Denmark, so this is European standard. This is ground. So somebody ripped this one out of this plug, and I have already a new one, so I will snip this off, put it into this one, so it's actually working. In Denmark, the third one, the one in the middle, that's the ground always. So I'll fix all that. So let me unscrew this. I just want to briefly make a remark. There are no extensions, so there's no extra memory up here. We don't have any external, or extended this computer with external cards. So this is just a stock version. The memory is over here, so that would be, I think it's 128K, or is it 256? I can't remember. Down here we have a CPU, which is then again the Zilog Z8001. We have 2 BIOS up here. I need to remove the BIOS. There's something scribbled on it. I almost can't read it. It's like DIB and I don't know, 0, H1, which must be, okay, so this is high, and this one says low. So this is the high and this is low. I will make a dump of that and put them on archive.org, so we have them for future use. So all in all, what's to do? I'll move the power supply out by unscrewing up here, further down. Let me just explain. These are the ground cables. This is the main cord coming in. So I need to unscrew the 2 grounds and the main cord, take out the cable, fix that. Once that's taken out, I can remove the power supply and we will open it up and inspect it. So let me do that. I changed the power cord, the plug on the main cord, so that is now working. And let's quickly unscrew these 3 screws, and there's one down there. And while I have it here, let's briefly see. So the power supply is called LA12. It has a serial number of 37908, 17th of March 1982. So it's an early one. Go. And again, this is the 3rd time I'm actually opening these power supplies. Haven't found any issues yet to any of them. They seem very solid, and you can actually power them without any loads for a very, very brief time. Maybe I should, while we're here, and over on this side, I just have the power cord. This is for the floppy disk drive. Just want to stress out, so to say, that let me put it in here. Goes in like this. This is not a PC power supply, so you need to be aware of orange, the 2 ones, this is 12 volt. The red one, this is 5 volt, and there's only 1 ground. You will be used to, if you're working with PCs, that the 2 middle ones are ground. Don't be misled or mistake that. That will blow up everything because it's 12 volts. So once again, just for clarification, 12 volt, there are 2. 1 red, which is 5 volt, and in the middle, that's ground. So with that set, we have the same over here, and we actually also have -12. So we need to be sure when we're testing this that we are hitting the right spots on this one. So did I? Yes, I did. So let's just, I need to take it off here, or else you can't. There we go. Get the top cover off, which just slides out here. I feel it's a little bit dusty, but it's actually, are we in the, sorry, are we in the frame? I think we are right now, right? So this plastic cover actually sits between here, it sits in here. Come on, there we go. It's placed in there, like this, and that's why it's falling out. There's a fuse over here, which we need to have a look at. And besides that, let me briefly have a tiny look. Everything looks pretty. In order to take the actual board out, you can see it in the other videos. So I'm not going to do that because I can see this is fine. There's nothing out of the ordinary. There are 2 screws in there, which then give you access to remove the power supply board actually out of the casing when you want to inspect that. I'm not going to do that. So let me find my voltmeter, and let me attach the mains cord over here, and then we'll just turn it on and measure if there's power on it, so we don't blow up the computer later on. Let's briefly test the fuse. It looks fine. There we are. All good. And as you may see, I have already put in the plug, the power cable, the mains cable in here. So that's also good. Let's hook up the different kinds of cables so we have some points where we can test. And we need this one, and I have a voltmeter over here, which we could test the 12 volt rail perhaps. So So that's going to be orange. On ground. Maybe we should actually, before we do anything, maybe we should just test whether or not there's any, yeah, connectivity or bridge within the power supply. So all the grounds should be there. The 3 grounds are good. This is fine. Same. That's the 5 volts and this is the 12 volt. Cool. Now they, yes. So everything is fine. So there's no bridge anywhere. So that's good. Let me do this again. So on your right side we'll be testing the 12 volt, sorry, the 5 volt rail. We can make it stop screaming. And on the other side we can then, can we get everything in at once? I think so. It's a little bit sketchy. But then again, we've got to test everything at the same time. So let me see if I can get everything in the shot right. Yeah, weird readings. So everything should be fine. Let's hook some power to it and see if it works, right? I think it's on there. Three, two, one, go. If I turn the power on. Nothing is working. Bummer. So we have a dead power supply. Let's investigate. And I'm pretty sure that you're all screaming at me. Sorry, I'm being a fool. Look, the fuse hasn't been put in. I'm really sorry. This is yeah. What can I say? Well, doesn't matter. I have put the fuse back in. I will hook everything up and make a cut and then we'll turn it on. Give me a second. So everything is hooked up again. Sorry for that. Black was ground. So these two are ground. One goes to this side, one goes to the other one. Red is 5 volt, goes over here. And orange is 12 volt, goes over there. So let's try it again. Turning on the power supply, plugging in the power and go. 11.8 and 5.1. Everything is within spec. This is super cool. I can do this and I can now do that. Perfect. Let me take this away. Let me put the cover back on it again and screw in the 4 screws. And then we need to attend the actual computer further up there. What I want to do next is I'm gonna show you how to take out the board, the fan, and there's another plate. We're gonna rip that out so that I can rinse this one down. I need to rinse that. Next one up is that we need to take out the actual board, and again, this is not screwed in. It is held in by 2 plastic clips down here that very carefully needs to be bent a little bit back. Then you can lift up the board a little bit, and once that's freed from here, you just pull the board out. You need to be careful whether or not the reset button, which is over here, is within the casing or outside the casing. In this case, it is inside. So what I will carefully do, I will lift these back, lift up the board. I usually take 1 corner at a time. Be careful, fragile. So let me just quickly do that, and then we need to attend this up here. And that gives us a motherboard. Let me take this to the side. Just a brief remark. Sometimes, or usually, in the back, these are the connectors for peripherals. So this is, for instance, for the monitor down there. Over here in the back, if I'll put this on the table briefly, you can see these. They're also usually plugs to hide them, and if they are in, you need to take that out before you rip out the actual board. But that's it. Which then leaves us with this. So we have a fan up here, which is then connected to this plate that we have here. And usually you can just lift it up like this, and out we have the fan. There's no need to take these out. They can be a little bit of a pain to get out and back in again. It's running as it should. I will just clean this very thoroughly with IPA and maybe drip a tiny bit of oil in. It looks fine, so I won't even drip oil in it. So I'll just clean all of this, and I will take the board to the sink, wash the board down. It's just dusty. Yeah, that should be it. There's a nice sticker here, just ensuring that we are aware of that this is made in Italy. So let me briefly wash these two items, and then we shall attend this board. I will also clean the board. It's not dirty, but I just want to clean it so the dust is gone. And then we need to rip out these two. What I also want to do is I'm taking out all the chips that are in sockets all over the board, put some deoxit in it, and reseat them back into it. One briefly noticed, which I also mentioned in my OliTober video about the other Olivetti M20. This is the CPU. The fun thing, if you can say so, is that the socket, I'm pretty sure you can't see it, but it's two sockets. And the last time I was working with the board, we had some issues it wouldn't turn on in one of the episodes. That was just because this seating was not good when I put back in the CPU, but it's all working now. The BIOS, let me just zoom a little bit in. So as you can see, high and low. I will make a dump of that. Besides that, I don't think there's so much to say. Well, maybe I should briefly mention up here. Hopefully it's in. So this is the revision D board. There's also a revision G, I think to recall. So two different kinds of boards. So this is the D revision. And we have a tiny sticker down here. Again, it's stating something, something, and then 82. We also have another one over here, which says 4,900. I don't know if that's a serial number for the board. If we briefly have a look on the back, no botch wire, no nothing. So it's very fine. I shall be back. So the board is clean now. I can see that you can see me in the, hi there, sorry. All I want to do is take the BIOS out of the motherboard and have a go at it. I have already done the high, so just to explain what I'm doing, I'm taking the G-Knock Pro, whatever this is called, I can't remember, there you go. Need to remember there's a nut there, so we need to take this, put it in there. Before we do that, we need to figure out what kind of EEPROM this is. This is an Intel one, but it doesn't matter. It's a D2732A. 32 means it's 32K, and it's the A revision. So I'm going down here, if you can see it, and hooking it up, just like that. And then you need to select, it's already selected, but it doesn't matter. You just write D2732, and it was a, what was it again? 2732A. So it's that one over there. So let's select that. Go on devices, read the thing. I try to do it a few times to see if I see any changes. So that's that. It writes me Olivetti copyright 1981 PCOS boot ROM, so all fine. go on File, go on Save, find the location, and as you can see I have already dumped the high ones. I'll just hover over it and find the name on the actual EEPROM. So it just says DIB 1.0 LO. So I just need to write LO down here and press save. So this is now going to be saved as a binary bin. I always do the same thing again. Save, and then I select hex. I find that file, which is this one, remove the bin, extension, and do the save. And if I then go on my computer, I usually verify. So buys and dumps, Olivetti L1 series, the M20, and this is this one, and I have them over here. So all good. So this one now goes out, and then it's going to be put into the board again, which then actually means that we are ready to assemble everything in the casing. The only thing we are missing, which will be the next thing, is the floppy disk drive. So let me just put everything back in the casing just so I don't have the motherboard floating. Everything, I mean the motherboard. We have the keyboard over there we need to attend, and we have the floppy disk drives. Let me put them in the shot. Can you see that popping in? Over there. They're very dirty, so we need to deal with that. So let me do this, and then let's take these. 2 floppy disk drives, and I've already taken out the 2 screws that are in the front with this in between. So these 2 screws are taken out. That's all that holds the actual disk to the disk bay. I've taken out the 4 screws on both of the drives. They're here, 2 on each side, which then gives us access to the casing that can be taken off. So let me just unplug power cable, the floppy disk controller cable, just for the future of this video. This is drive 0, this is drive A, 0 and drive 1. It's not A and B, but 1 and 0. Sorry again. 0 and 1. I'm getting there. So let me lift them out. It's just a little bit dusty, but there's nothing much to do with this. Which then gives us these 2 drives, and I can now lift off the casing. That then gives us 2 drives. Let me just briefly show you the front of the drive. That's the mechanism. This is really dirty, dusty, and I don't know, filthy. And the same goes for the other drive. So again, not going too deep into the 2 drives, you need to look at the OliTober series about the other Olivetti M20. Just a brief comment on what I'm gonna be doing. As there are 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom, that means this is for the reader head. So this is double-sided discs. This is a terminator for the drive, so both of them are terminated. But these dip switches, especially the black one over there and the blue one over there, is where you set whether this is drive 0 or drive 1. So in this case, let me just, it depends on the board. There are different revision of the board. Sometimes these, where you set the actual drive, is something that you're setting down here in this area. On this board, it has been combined. So from the right, it's number 3 that sets it to being drive 1. And on this drive, which is drive 0, it's the 4th up. So this one has been moved 1 down over there. What I'm gonna be doing, I just want to clean it. Well, I need to. So I need to take out this screw there, and that screw there, as I recall, and obviously take out the cables that are surrounding. Then I can lift up the board slowly, take it away, which will give me access to the actual heads, so I can clean the heads. There we go. And on the bottom, I can unscrew this screw and these two screws, and then I can lubricate the mechanism. This is a belt. I'll unscrew it, I'll show you. The belt is down here, which in this case seems very firm. Let me just try the other one. And again, the belt is on the motor. Yeah, it's very firm. So it seems to be no problem with the belts. So let me do all this. If you want to see how this looks inside and yaga, again, go on the other video. We need to keep this short. So let me just fix this and then come back to you. And here we have it, all cleaned, all inspected, and everything looks fine now. I actually think this has been a computer that's been in an environment where people are smoking, because it was yellowish, and when I began to wipe it down, it ran down, and it smells a little bit. So maybe, yeah, I don't know. One thing about the disk drives, according to the service manual, there's a tiny note saying that you should never close it and keep it closed. That's probably due to that the heads will then go on each other. So you should keep the floppy disk drive up when you don't have a disk in it. So let's take this to the side. And the last thing is then related to this, and to that one, and to this one. This is my excitement. I love cleaning keyboards. I don't know why. I've been making statements about that during my YouTube videos, so you know that by now. Two things, actually one thing. Obviously the spacebar here has a spring and has the stabilizer in it. Let me just briefly take it out like this. Don't want to lose the spring. The spring is higher than the rest of the keyboard, and on the enter key over here there's also a stabilizer. So when you take this off, you take it to the side, and then you can clip out that key. If I can, need to be careful. Like this. Up in the butt of water up here, there's no spring in this. So all that's left for me is to take out all the other keys and put them in the basket, or buckets here with water. Obviously I took a picture so I know where all the keys are. There's nothing special with this, and I will just once again invite you to have a look at my OliTober YouTube video series about the computer, so you can see me doing more about the actual keyboard. One thing, if I turn it around briefly, so there's a lot of screws. These need to be taken off. Obviously this is the microcontroller for the keyboard, and we have a loudspeaker which is not a loudspeaker as such. It can only say beep, so that's over there. And there's a light up there which is connected to this. So once I've taken out all the keys, I will remove this plate. I can then take the PCB away, and I can clean the PCB on the side. Let me just take the bucket away. Around the keyboard there is a foam membrane that prevents dust coming into the keyboard, and it looks okay, but if it's like disintegrating, I will take that away and also provide another foam around it, just like in the other video. So let me have fun with this, and once all the keys are out, washed, cleaned, dried, I will then come back, because then we should actually be ready to assemble everything. I will just pre-assemble everything, and then we need to turn the computer on. Hopefully it works, and then we can see if we can even have it boot. So let me do all of that and come back. So I cleaned the PCB. The keys are still in the bucket of water over here, soaking, so that will take a little bit time still. Just one comment to the stands. Again, I've been talking about these on the other one. It's very nice clicking noise. There's just one thing people need to remember when they fall out. So when you put them back, they need to be in a certain way, and hopefully you can see it. Let me find a screwdriver. On this side, right there, there's a little bit of a contact. That always needs to be on this side. So this comes from here, so it needs to go this way. So you need to remember to put them in the same way, or else it doesn't make the contact. Because, let me take it out again. Said it before in the other series. This nut down there and that's the one that makes the contact on two of the spots on the PCB. So when you click on it, it moves up and makes the contact in the middle. So it needs to be over here. That's just what I wanted to say. The foam is fine. There's nothing wrong with the foam, so I'm leaving the foam. And I shall come back once the keys are back in and everything is working again. So see you in just a bit. It's together again, and as you can see, the keyboard's put in, floppy disk drive, power supply, obviously the motherboard. I've connected the monitor in the back, hooked up the power, I think, so we should be able to turn it on if it works. So crossing fingers. When I turn it on, the red light up here should light up, and then it should make a beep, and it should spin up, and some boot sector bootstraps thingy on the screen. So let's try and see. I heard the beep. It's red. There was the beep beep. Over here, bootstrap loader revision 1.0, insert disk and type return. I have a system disk, PCOS 8000. This is the version 2.0. Maybe nothing will run on this computer because there's only 128K on the motherboard. There's no RAM expansion, so this is going to be a struggle for the computer. But let's just see. I can see it spinning up here. And it's actually booting. Total memory size 128K. Free memory size 76230 bytes, and basic 36742. It's the black and white, and there's obviously one floppy disk drive because that's in. So now we're in the DOS. If I do VL for volume list, it will list the directory on the disk. And that's just gonna go on for a while. I think there's like 70 files on this. So if you press the blue key, which is like control, and then C on the keyboard, that's cancel. I also have, besides that boot disk, I have this box with goodies, and there is a M20 with games. So I think we should try and see what happens. I have literally no idea what's going on. So let's put it in. If you press the blue and reset, it resets the computer. So it should most likely boot on the floppy disk, if this is a bootable disk. I have actually no idea. It's doing something. And it goes into the DOS operating system. So volume list, I see something called Blackjack, Breakout, Calendrio, Canon, loads of, I'm assuming this is basic games. So Blackjack, I don't know, Control C, basic, load Blackjack, I don't know. Okay, if I do list, here we have the basic program. Control C again, breaks out. Let's do run. Welcome to the Las Vegas atmosphere. How much money do I want to start to win? 100? Enter your bet. I don't know, 5? There we go. So graphics and everything. It's a nice machine. Perfect. There are loads and loads of programs, games and other stuff in this box. I won't go through them because, as I said, I want to talk to you about what's going to happen. So let me wrap this up, put the casing on it, and let's, yeah. It's running. This is a spreadsheet from Olivetti called Multiplane. Super nice. I'm so happy once again everything is working with the good old Olivettis. Yeah, I hope this was a fairly short video, half an hour maybe, I don't know. I don't know if I have any comments maybe to the keyboard. For some strange reason, all my Olivetti M20s, the keys are having different kinds of colors, and I have no clue why that is. Maybe the batch where they produce the keys are with different kinds of plastic. There you go. But it's working, it's running, and that's nice. I'm not going further into games or programs and operating system, as I have been saying during this video that I'm planning on making a whole episode just about software, operating system and games and so on and so forth. So give me a thumbs up if you like this one. Helps me heaps and months. Do subscribe, and I hope to see you soon. Goodbye.